right, hello to you. We've made it to Friday. That's one thing to celebrate, and it is the first full day of summer 2024. Time to start thinking about maybe some pool time, some beach time. We've had some problems at our area beaches across Southeast Texas because we've had tropical trouble. So of course I'm here to update you on the latest. What's going on out there? Do we have more tropical systems brewing that could cause us problems in the week to come? So let's get right to it so we can get out and enjoy our Friday and the weekend. All right, let's start off with what's happened over the last few days, and it's been pretty active the last few days. Of course, we had landfall of our first tropical storm of the season, which was Alberto, and we are now looking to see if we could possibly have Beryl or Chris developing over the next 2 to 7 days. There is a decent chance that might happen. Of course, we have been predicting a pretty busy hurricane season for this year. We've got several names on this list. My hope, and probably your hope, is that we don't have to use a lot of these names, but the forecast calls for an unusually busy season. So we'll have to see how far down this list we get. And then there's a secondary list of names if we go through all of those names. But let me show you what's happening locally right now. We are still getting a little bit of that tropical moisture. Even though Alberto is gone, we still have that onshore flow, and we still have these spotty downpours rolling in off of the Gulf of Mexico, and we still have some slightly higher tide levels as well down along the coast. So we've gotten rid of that coastal flood warning, but we still are dealing with the coastal flood advisory. Some of those low-lying areas, low-lying roads could still have some water rising up and over them. So certainly watch out for any additional flooding that may be going on down around the coast, especially down around Galveston, Surfside Beach, Lake Jackson. So just keep that in mind. Farther inland, I'm not expecting too many flooding issues, but we do have some spotty heavy downpours occurring out there. We've got plenty of heat and humidity, that tropical moisture, so it's not going to take much to get these showers and storms going. Fox Ride radar showing that we do have those downpours over the Harris County area north of downtown Houston between Aldine, Atascocita, Spring, the Woodlands. You're getting in on some of that heavy rain, and that stretches back towards parts of Tomball and Cypress as well, where I'm sure that traffic is getting thick right around this time, especially on a Friday. So be careful out there, especially if you have to drive through some of that heavy rain. We've also got some heavier downpours building back to the west and southwest. One tiny downpour there getting close to Eagle Lake, and we have a few more showers trying to pop up on us to the south and west of that area. This is going to be between Edna and Victoria. So we're not expecting widespread rain, but those spotty downpours will stick around due to the fact that we do still have that tropical air mass still in place. But at least Tropical Storm Alberto is completely gone, but we of course are watching the tropics for more development. We did have a wind advisory for a few days down around our coast due to the impacts from Tropical Storm Alberto while it was still a tropical system, but now that wind advisory is gone. We do still have some pretty breezy conditions out there, wind gusts anywhere from about 15 to 25 miles per hour for the majority of the area. Notice that wind gust down around Galveston. If you're heading to Galveston Beach, still around 24, 25 miles per hour. So it's still going to be fairly breezy, but it's not going to be nearly as windy as what we were experiencing over the last couple of days. So we can say goodbye to Tropical Storm Alberto. That one dissipated and fell apart over Mexico after landfall, but now we've got not one, but 2 areas of concern that we're monitoring for possible tropical development. The first one is getting close to the Florida-Georgia coast, and there's a 60% chance that this area of low pressure that is looking a little bit more organized could develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm. But the window for that happening is very small. We're expecting this system to likely reach the coast late tonight into early tomorrow morning. So if it doesn't develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm before then, it's not going to happen. So hopefully it will hit the coast without strengthening anymore, and it will just bring a little bit of heavy rain and some gusty wind. I do think we have a decent chance for maybe another tropical system forming in the southwestern Gulf over this weekend into early next week. Right now, we're watching an area of showers and storms over the Yucatan Peninsula, expected to push west into the Bay of Campeche, and this area does have a 60% medium chance for tropical development over the next 7 days. So we are going to watch things closely. In fact, some of the models are showing something spinning up on us by late in the weekend, early next week, and that is the concern. We're also concerned because we still have super warm waters out there in the Gulf of Mexico, temps in the 80s. So that acts as fuel for these tropical systems. So when you get something to develop, they kind of tap into that warm water and they can get going pretty fast, as long as there's not a lot of wind shear or change with direction and height of that wind as you go into the upper level. So when you have a lot of wind shear, that kind of works to rip the storm apart and it kind of weakens it and slows it down. But we are expecting generally moderately favorable atmospheric conditions over the next few days for this to develop. So that's why there's a 60% chance of this happening. All right, here is your Gulf Futurecast. We're looking at what could potentially happen over the next few days. This is our GFS model. Notice not a lot showing up for your Friday, but as we go into Saturday and Sunday, we are going to have the potential for maybe an area of low pressure developing in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. You can see that counterclockwise spin indicating an area of low pressure likely developing, and if it can get a little stronger, it could be a tropical depression, or it could turn into Tropical Storm Beryl. That would be the next name on the list. But notice where it's located. It will likely push into eastern, northeastern portions of that Mexican coast. Once again, a similar track to Tropical Storm Alberto, and it will likely bring more heavy rain to South Texas between Corpus Christi and Brownsville especially. You may be thinking, what will it do to us here in Southeast Texas? Well, I don't think we're going to get a ton of impacts from this. So I don't think we'll get anything too crazy. But of course, with that onshore flow, that tropical moisture in place, we'll likely continue to get those spotty afternoon and early evening downpours that could lead to some isolated street flooding. And the water will still be a little choppy, maybe some slightly higher tide levels. And of course, the rip current risk will continue to be high, likely for much of next week as well. But the majority of those impacts will likely be felt for the eastern Mexican coast. Once again, that was just hit by Tropical Storm Alberto, and South Texas, which was of course recently inundated with rounds of heavy rain from Alberto and strong gusty wind and that coastal flooding. So a similar setup next week, although I think this system will be a little bit smaller. It may stay a little bit farther to the south, but it is something we are watching closely. Now, at first with Alberto, models were showing several inches of rain possible for us. We didn't get quite that much, but at least with this system, the models over the next 7 days are keeping the majority of that heavy rain down to our south. So you can see for the eastern Mexican coast, South Texas, Corpus Christi, Brownsville, you'll see the dark greens, the yellows, the reds, the purples. That indicates those big time rain totals over the next week. For the Houston area, we're kind of in the blue area. So for us, I think generally over the next week, most spots around an inch of rain or less. There could be some isolated 2 to 3 inch totals, but I'm not expecting any major flooding issues. So that is certainly some good news. So even if we get Beryl developing in the Gulf of Mexico, it looks like it's not going to bring major impacts to us. We can thank high pressure to our northeast to block that system from heading our way. So good news there. However, rain chances are not going to be zero. So if you're thinking about some pool time, I think Saturday will be your best bet with only a 10% chance you'll have to deal with one of those downpours, 90% chance that you'll be able to get out there, soak up the sun with the sunscreen, of course, and enjoy some outdoor time without the heavy rain. Heading into next week, though, those rain chances do start to increase again. 30 to 40% chance for showers and storms, especially during the hottest part of the day, the afternoon, and that's going to be from Sunday all the way through Wednesday. Look outside of our Fox 26 studios and across the Houston area, and you'll see that we've got a cloud-sun mix out there. Temps in the low 90s. That feels like temp, though, close to triple digits. But yesterday and today, I was saying it's just been so nice to see more sunshine out there and to get a break from all of the craziness that Mother Nature has been throwing at us for the last several days, the last several weeks, and even the last several months. It's been a super busy year. But it should be fairly quiet, with the exception of maybe a brief downpour out there if you are going to go cheer on the Astros in action this evening out at the ballpark. Minute Maid Park is going to be rocking, I'm sure. Orioles in town, and we've got temps that will still be near 90 by 6 p.m., 86 by 8, low 80s by 11. So plan on getting into a sweat most likely as you're walking up to the ballpark. It is going to be super steamy, warm and humid, but hey, it's the first full day of summer. It's what we expect in Southeast Texas this time of the year. Maybe you're thinking about going to the farmer's market. Maybe that is on your errand list for Saturday. There's a very nice one on Grand Parkway in Katy, and maybe you want to stop by and get those fresh, locally grown vegetables. Maybe check out some of the arts and crafts and other cool things out there. Well, you'll be in the heat as well. Best thing to do would be to go early, mid to late morning. At least we'll still be in the low to mid 80s. Upper 80s likely close to lunchtime, and by the early afternoon, temperatures right around the low 90s. If you're anything like me, you're ready to sneak in some pool time. I know I've been itching to go to the pool, and hopefully I'll get a little time to do that this weekend. If you're going to be out there for Saturday, like I said, it's going to be a lot of heat, a lot of humidity, and very little rain. We're keeping rain chances low, only around 10%. So that means get out there and enjoy, but stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, make sure you take breaks in the shade or inside in the AC, and don't forget that sunscreen. That sun will be bright. That UV index probably in the extreme category for tomorrow. We've got another fun event going on tomorrow in the Woodlands, whether where you live. If you're going to be enjoying some weekend time in the Woodlands for your Saturday, maybe at Waterway Nights, listening to some great music. I think there's going to be some Zydeco music out there tomorrow evening. It is going to be toasty by the afternoon hours, middle to upper 90s, low 90s still by 7 o'clock, and still low 80s by 10 p.m. So bottom line, we are stuck in the heat likely for the rest of this month, July, August, September, maybe by October, we'll start to get some of those stronger cold fronts coming in, but this is what we expect this time of the year. So get ready for those temps near or slightly above average from Saturday all the way through much of next week. We'll hope that we keep most of that tropical trouble away from us. We may have some slightly enhanced rain chances and some rip current risks for next week, but I think if we do get a tropical system in the Gulf, it likely would stay well to our south. So of course, if that changes, I am here to let you know and to keep you updated. Well, that will do it for today's tropical update and your local weather for the Houston, Texas area. Once again, I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and guess what? It's almost the weekend. Have a great one.